I can't get over saying happy 2026. It still felt like the very beginning of the new year. I think this is still the first week, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Something feels good about this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's the proper terminology or vernacular to say eerie, because usually eerie is associated with something that's bad or disingenuous, like you kind of like sketchy about something. But it's like a eerie feeling, but in a good way. It's like something about this year feel real positive. Like, that's just how I feel. I stated previously that I'm gonna do short vids, dropping jewels, and I intend that to be my focus. But tonight it is a Friday. I decided to take a different route, and I just wanted to engage a little bit and see what the algorithm might possibly present itself to do. Like, if people come in the room, I don't know, because I haven't been frequenting going live or whatnot. But I guess I build up that little mathematical momentum. So I speak on a few issues at hand. But I will say this: the new me moving forward, when I speak on issues, it's gonna be vague. I'm not gonna be as direct and blunt. You know, legacy building is really important in this life. You know, I think when you young and you in your 20s and stuff like that, and you wet behind the ears, and the world is so far ahead in your vision. It's like you can get ahead of yourself. You can be outlandish. You can have these sincere takes on politics and life and government. But when you start getting to the legacy years, that's dope. I just made that up. The legacy years is about building. It's about trying to build something that outlasts you as a human. You know, some of that deals with money, but the other aspect is beyond money. It's the foundation you set for the is those are the things that will define you as a human being. You know, having reason and a sense of legitimate, not fear, but I think I you know what I think some people problem is, including myself. I just start with myself. My problem in life was not being fearful enough. People say fearless, fearless. I should have had more fear in how I operate and how I govern myself online, particularly online. I should have had that because you think about the people with longevity and jobs and they able to secure certain income. It's because the job doesn't fear what they might say. They're not as sporadic or off the radar. They're pretty much protocol, and I should have kept that same kind of parameter around myself, where I govern myself to say, you know what, I'm fearful of losing a job. I'm fearful of losing income. I'm fearful of how this might affect my reputation moving forth. I never had that fear. And now that I'm getting older into these, what I define as legacy years, now these things matter to me. So when I speak on things, I want to be legit. And when I engage online, I'm in the chat. Hi, what's good? Harper Kokias. When I engage with people online, I want to be cognizant of, I don't even know how to word it, but I just want to have like operate myself with a standard that I'm not just going outlandish takes on everything, or I'm not just speaking like I'm rogue or anything like that. Because the most important thing to me, I was thinking about this. I was talking to this lady at my daughter's school, and she said, "You're such a great dad," and this and that and that. And I'm thinking, ma'am, the reason I appreciate her compliments, but what she didn't know is this is part of my ego. Like, my survival skills and my ego is I cannot have my daughter fail, or I can't put her in a failing position because of my personal ego. You know, there's a song by a woman named Janae Aiko. I believe, I don't know, I hope I'm not botching her name real bad. But she got a song called Love Me Enough for the Both of Us. And when I met my baby mother, before I knew she would be my baby mother, I knew I loved myself enough for the both of us. And I knew that when we had a child, whether she wanted to partake in her child doing great or not, I knew that I couldn't let that little kid fail. So when I see my child, it's not me trying to spoil my child, it's me trying to spoil myself. Like I see a younger version, a younger, innocent, helpless version of myself. So when people, try to put that together and say, "Oh, you're a great dad," I like the compliment or whatever, but I don't indulge in it too much because it's natural. What's a good dad? This is self-preservation. This is part of my legacy. I want to preserve myself. Part of preserving myself is putting a human being out into the general public that can contribute and be great to society. You know, that's part of myself, giving myself a better childhood. People live through their kids, whether you want to admit it or not, but vicariously, people live through their kids. So that's the same thing. It's just a matter of me seeing a little version of me. I call her the little woman in me, and living through her and making sure she got this great life, or what I perceive as a great life. Maybe one day. I think the funny part about life, and I'm gonna get to these world issues. I just want to say this real quick. Funny part about life is, as a parent, you strive to make sure your child have a better life than you had, and oftentimes you end up with these spoiled, privileged kids that just feel like the world is supposed to be given to them because you sacrificed and you said, I don't want you to experience what I experienced. But I think me and her is in a unique situation. God bless. And I'm 17. I appreciate that, Jay. Somebody else said fulfillment from a father that's supposed to be reached. Once you see a mini, you a fresh start to the life you've been in already. It is. I'm embracing this whole facial hair thing and whatnot. I almost feel like Samson, my hair is my strength because I used to like shave my whole life, and I'm about to be 40 in 3 weeks. And I got this late maturity. I call it late maturity because I had my first child at 35, and that's when I realized, damn, I gotta save money. I used to just blow money, blow money, blow money, blow money, and then I started saving, and because I realized everything that I had been doing was selfish for myself. Now it's not about me. And so it's just my birthday was today. Happy birthday to all the Capricorns. I'm a Aquarius. Big shout out to all Aquarius, deep thinkers. Shout out to all the Capricorns too. And so, and unique part, my baby, she's an Aries, but her parents is both Aquarius, me and my baby mama. So, I'll just say all that to say that just maturity and growth. And once you have a kid, you're no longer living for you. Real talk. Yeah, you're not living. And you know what? Not only just having a kid, but having your kid around you. Because think about how many absent fathers, right, who out of the picture of their kids' lives. When I'm not around my baby, it's easier, and it's not justified, but I'm just saying, it's easier to think reckless and be reckless because it's like out of sight, not out of sight of mind, because I'm always going to be present as far as being a provider financially. But it's just the fact that you feel like the responsibility isn't there. But then when you think about, I think the most scariest thing for any parent is, what will my child do without me? You know what I'm saying? Like, who will fight? Who will love this human being like I love this human being? I love her to the moon and back, and to the back to the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be any parent's thought, is on every parent's mind, is how will my kid fight for themselves? And you want to train them up to fight for themselves, but you want to be their greatest champion. You did. So I say that to say it's not gonna matter of fact, let me just harping on a point real quick from Martin Luther King. And it was like the most deepest speech I feel Martin Luther King ever gave when it was on. He did a speech called Mountaintop. Everybody know I have a dream, but I go into a mountaintop. And he says longevity has its place. And he was speaking about, basically, he was saying in a nutshell, I want to be here for my child. I want to be here for my kids. It has this place for me to think about it. Martin Luther King died. His youngest child wasn't even 6. I mean, his oldest child wasn't even 6. So he never got to see no graduations of any sort, no proms, no anything, no first boyfriend, first girlfriend, no wife, no grandkids, no none of that. With that said, he said that spot had his place, but at this point, he had lived his life that he had lived for so long that it was just like exhausted. And it was like, man, it is what it is, man. I gotta, so I say that to say I'm not of that mind sort or to where I'm just exhausted and I'm like, oh, it is what it is. I'm gonna crash. I'm gonna this and that. Hell no. I got enough ego. I had a homeboy tell me some shit recently. He had went through some shit where a very close loved one died, and everybody was worried about his safety, and they thought he might kill himself. And he sat me down on a one-on-one. We was having a one-on-one, me and my former best friend or whatever, and we sitting down, we having a conversation. He looked me in my face. He said, "Man, let me tell you something, bro. I ain't gonna never kill myself. I love myself too damn much." And I appreciated that honesty in a vulnerable moment because it was like everybody worried that I lost this loved one that's so close and it is affecting me. But my legacy of what I got to do for myself and for my children is so important. And that's the like I like that. You did what I'm saying. So that's what this is about. And I appreciate that. I'm Jay. Well said. What I got to prove and what I got to finish this task that has been bestowed upon me is it's a long road. I can't never fall victim or to any foolishness. So that's my whole thing about it. I ain't gonna make this too long. I appreciate y'all engaging with me. I guess this is all I really needed or wanted when I came on here, which was I said, you know what, I was gonna talk about some world issues. I'm gonna still speak on it real quick. I'm gonna give it's 12 minutes and 24 seconds I've been online. I'm gonna give myself up to 16 minutes. So I'm gonna just speak on some quick things real quick. So everybody talking about the takeovers, that's the biggest thing in the news right now is the takeovers of other sovereign countries and whatnot. And where we headed. I just want to say this quickly. A couple of things, thoughts that came to mind that inspired this video. First thought is Black Americans. I'm talking about to what they call the genuine, or what do they call it? They call it, I forgot, it was a guy named Foundational Black Americans, FBA. To the people that's foundational, come from the slaves, the people that built this country. I want you guys to know something. There's never going to be no reparations. I'm just here to let you guys know. If anything is proving that, it's the takeover of Venezuela. The guy just came out flat out and said, man, we saw some... Donald Trump has turned Fleece Johnson, for anybody that ever heard of the Booty Bandit. Donald Trump seen Venezuela, he said, I like you. I like what you got to offer. And you're going to get this up. The easy way or the hard way? I hope you buck. I want to take this shit the hard way. And he took it the hard way. And then he came into the general American public and said, I took it the hard way. And nobody can't say nothing because you ain't never seen nothing like this before. And it's a phenomenon. To me, I think in a crazy twist, Donald Trump presidency embarrasses Obama because all the excuses Obama used, well, I got this constitutional constraint, and I can't, I only could do so much. Well, I got to get Congress approval, and the House of Representatives and the Senate has to vote on. Nigga, please. You had all the power in your hand, and you didn't do nothing. So Trump has shown, and I seen a guy that really hit it right on the head. He said, once the presidential power expands, it never contracts. You dig? So Trump is just embarrassing Obama. Obama has no legacy. Trump is just crapped on his legacy. Only thing he had working for him was the Affordable Health Care Act, which he didn't construct itself, but he did allow it to come about. And they still haven't found a way to retort that because it's the best thing that came in the last 20 years, you could say. But that, so Obama has that to try to attach itself to. But outside of that, as a president, as a man, as a leader, he can't attach himself to nothing. No president can, but I'm only using Obama because he's what America called the first black president. So I say that to say he could have took it in his hand and said, "Here go reparations. Fuck this shit. I'm the president. Y'all fucking slave my people." Guess what? White people, black people, everybody would have got over the shit. People that don't want to see reparations, they would have got over it. We're getting over everything. Everything we thought Trump was gonna do. We said America first. This, that. We're not gonna do no new wars. We're not gonna give Ukraine no more money. We're not gonna aid Israel. We're not gonna do nothing. We done did it all. And we get over it. We learn to get over it. That's what America is a healing country. America is an abused woman that loves a man to death. We love this country so much and the ideal of it. We just get over it. We'll get over it. And so if Obama would have gave us reparations in 2008 or 2012, America would have been over it by now. Hell, 70% of black Americans, FBA black Americans, would have spent all of that money and gave it back by now. And 30% would have been sitting fat and new empires, and this would have been built within the community. But outside of that, it would have been forgotten about. But he wasted that opportunity. We're never gonna have a black president again. You can not even a mixed president. We're not even gonna have a 25%. We're not even gonna have a Drake president. So you can forget about that. So moving forward, I don't even know if we're gonna have even presidents no more. I think the veil is finally off. And now that the veil is off and the corporations have said, hey, man, we run this country, the oil companies, not just the oil companies, the big corporations, let's just say it's 30 of them. They said, man, listen, we run this shit. We put in who we want to put in on both sides. And now that they've unveiled this mask, it's like, okay, now we get it. So you just got to work. And that's what I've been trying to do. That's why I've been off the line, keeping my opinions to myself, because I said to myself, at the end of the day, I want to be under the radar, but I am a liberated person and a outgoing, outspoken person. And I do have opinions I keep to myself oftentimes now. But at the same time, I'm just not going off like rogue about anything or saying anything crazy. I'm just speaking as a spectator. And as a spectator, what I see is this so-called imperialism has always been going on. And I heard a white guy say this today, and I'm going to finish this like this. It was almost disappointing because I'm subscribed to his channel. But I realized as I've been looking at the channels I'm subscribed to, I guess I'm a quote unquote conservative or whatever. But I just look at myself as a free thinker. But it's hard being under that umbrella because you hear white people. One thing about it, you never want a person to lie to you. So what do you want? You want the truth. And the truth isn't always easily digestible. And as I sat and listened to this white guy say, America became an empire in 1865. Or whatever he said. He said the kingdom ended in 1865. So I don't know if a lot of people know what's synonymous with 1865, but the slaves supposed to have been let free. So you mean to tell me, it's unique to hear white people real opinion because you don't get to hear this too much. They give you these vague answers or give you a flat out lie. And they play like they don't know what's going on. So to hear the truth is always accepting. Like I'm accepting of it like I want it. But it's just, damn, feed me a little bit. Like, don't pigeon feed me or whatever. Feed me like a bird. Don't give me too much at once. And the guy basically said, yo, we was a kingdom when we had slaves. Slavery ended, our kingdom fell, and we became an imperialist nation. It's like, whoa. Damn. When he said that, I realized, we're not getting no reparations. He basically said that we went from being kings to emperors. Emperors are more higher than the king is. So it's like emperor understands that this thing is international. Kingdom just looking at it as a nationalist standpoint. So perfect example, and before 1865, as this guy would put it, he didn't say it, but I'm just wording it how he might have said, he might have intended it to be. Before 1865, it would have been America first. Because America first was, let's milk these slaves for free money. Let's get all that we can as Europeans. And mind you, we got to understand, if we was to look at America like a human, we're looking at a bipolar country. We're looking at a disillusioned country. You feel me? Like, this country was I seen something, and I don't want to get too far off a point, but I just want to make a quick point. It was this Mexican man complaining about the school system in Texas or whatever. And then a white person said, and they said, well, why don't you go back to Mexico? And so I read the comments, and the comments like, that person got a point. And the so-called the old version of me was thinking, damn, they do got a point. But then I was thinking they would feel bad if that Mexican dude said, we're in Texas, we are in Mexico. We're in Arizona, we are in Mexico. We're in California, we're in Utah, we are in Mexico. You mean the land you stole from us? So I was like, damn, that would, he didn't say that, but that would have been a hell of a comeback. So the disillusioned American, what's an American? Most Americans are made up of Irishmen, Italians, and all these places are Europeans. So it's full of these foreigners pretending that this is their natural land, the same way the new Israelis pretend that that's their natural land. So it's disillusioned people thinking, hey, this is my shit. So only person I feel, and y'all, it don't even matter because it's 2027 about to be 40. I was about to say y'all about to leave when I tell you this. It's gonna get real. Only person really with the right stamp that can really stamp America as theirs outside of the Native Americans who was already here is the Black Americans that was drugged here through slavery. Involuntarily. Keyword, involuntarily. Didn't volunteer, didn't jump on no boat, didn't make no car out of boat, didn't swim over here, didn't sneak over here, didn't jump no gate, didn't cut no fences. Was drug over here. Raped, beat, murdered, and forced into work. That's the only person with a real claim. So the fact that I've always had this strong sense of national pride was always because I felt so a part ingrained into this shit. My folks bled and died and was raped into this shit. Indoctrinated. It's like a person growing up in a gang banging neighborhood and they justify their gang behavior because that's the community that they was the most safe in. They had to align with something. I had to align with being American because this is all I fucking knew. This is what I was drug into. I didn't come here from no country. You can't deport me nowhere. So, and in closing, I will say in closing because I'm doing a little too much at this point. The fact that this country is bipolar and doesn't have a real identity, the fact that corporations define the identity of this country, corporations decide elections. I always tell people, just look up Boston versus First United. Just look it up, Boston versus First United. The fact when we will have a real democracy that allows the general public to elect the president, then we can come to this sense of what this country is, no matter how, for better or for worse. When the people get to decide who our president is, opposed to a corporation, opposed to the money, just the people's desire and will, this person is the president, then we can define ourselves as a country. Just like Ibrahim Traoré or whatever it is in Burkina Faso. That's a real leader elected by the people. There's no corporation in that country that said we just going to put a puppet in there. So if we want a real American identity, we must first elect a real leader, selected, elected by the people, not by the money. The people can't match corporations' money. The people can only have their desire and will. And nobody ever listens to what the populace or the popularity or the majority of the American people say. So we're just going to be, electing these Manchurian candidates. And it is what it is. I don't want to get too deep. I appreciate y'all listening and checking this out. And I hope y'all gained something from this. And y'all take care. That part.